The Alien franchise returns on the big screen. Originally a streaming Hulu movie, but this one was placed back in the most great theatrical way to experience a movie like this. My name is Danny Escamilaggi. In today's episode, I will be reviewing Alien Romulus.
I scream, you scream for movies, and that's what we be doing.
What is going on, movie fans? Welcome to I Screened, You Scream for number 4 movies. I'm Danny Escamilaggi. Before we get started to this review, subscribe to the podcast, whatever you're listening on, and please check out my social media platforms and my Letterboxd. They'll all be in the show notes of the description for this episode. And guys, after a slumber Borderlands review, which I will say probably one of the worst movies of the year, I can tell you, but I knew this movie will officially come cleanse the shit out of this movie of Borderlands. And let me tell you, this is a movie that I've been secretly excited, but not been too much, crazy about it. I wanted to see how well this film was, especially done by the great talented director of horror. And of course, the executive producer of the franchise, Ridley Scott himself, brought back this franchise to its new roots, which is a prequel taking place between Alien and Aliens. Alien Romulus has finally come, and actually this is recording 2 weeks after the movie released, which is because I was going to see it the last weekend of its official release, but couldn't have the time, couldn't have the moment to do it, so I saw it this past Sunday, August 25th, and dropping the episode midweek of its third release run of this movie. This movie feels like it's never too late to be seen at any point, because Alien is the franchise that's been going on lingering questionable where it stands. Especially Alien Covenant was the last film that had questionable things, and I even actually enjoy the movie too, believe it or not. And then we had Prometheus back in 2012. But Romulus, Alien Romulus, this is the film that I feel like going back in depth of this after Prometheus, after Alien Covenant, and going into the 1900s Ridley Scott era of Alien, this is where it belongs. And there's a lot of good things, especially word on the street, how freaking awesome it is that this movie, I kid you not, as we're getting started to this review, this was a streaming movie. And in case no one remembers, back in 2022, if anyone knows this Predator movie, Prey, originally a streaming movie, and it went on streaming. And just to tell you the truth, I am more of a Predator fan than an Alien fan. And I love watching Predators movies so much. Especially that the other last one in 2018 was pure garbage. Prey happened to get great buzz. But you know what? It's stupid that you're not going to experience that on a big screen. I'm sure this was played in like screenings or something that, critic junkies probably were able to see, but everyone else that are moviegoers and love this franchise never got to see on a big screen. And it feels so wrong. Back when Bob Chapek is the purgatory of streaming movies, who almost tarnished the Pixar brand. And then somewhat, Alien Romulus was going to be a streaming movie. But thank freaking God, you can never get to experience a movie like this, because of course you wouldn't have chills, you wouldn't have scares, you wouldn't have anything to feel in the incredible sound system, which pulls you on the edge of your seat, which is what a horror sci-fi movie will do. This film, I'm so glad Disney, when Bob Chapek just left or got booted out of Disney, the moment they start filming, Fede Alvarez, I'm sure, director of this movie, wanted this movie to go theatrical. They changed it and put it in theaters. That's the power of putting your franchisable films like Alien, putting it on a big screen where it belongs, and I goddamn wish Prey was the same thing. And unfortunately, there was no re-release whatsoever with Prey. I would have seen that, and the problem is with me, in case no one knows, I am very lazy at stream-o movies. And what's pretty bad about it is I'll probably not watch it unless a Prey sequel gets made, and I'll definitely watch Prey, of course. So, as we're getting started, I gotta start off with this director, Fede Alvarez. He is the director of Evil Dead. And can't think... Oh, Don't Breathe. He is on this movie with Alien. And he is also the screenwriter of this movie. And Ridley Scott is the executive producer. And once in a while, Ridley Scott makes so many hectic, credible movies. But sometimes, gotta let somebody take the reins for a bit while he's in charge of like the production of foreseeing a writing and direction. But Fede Alvarez is what they got on board with this guy. He did an amazing job bringing the roots of an Alien franchise to where it feels great. And people actually enjoy this movie. Like I said, I'm recording this in the 3rd week of release. And I didn't get a chance to see like the weekend of its release. So now seeing it in the late 2nd weekend, I can say for sure this is a must-see sci-fi thriller of the summer. And hopefully, if you didn't get the chance to see it, National Cinema Day is Saturday, by the way, if you haven't seen this movie. It is a great way, if you haven't seen this movie, go plan seeing it as a message. Because if you're looking for chills and thrills, if you're an Alien fan, if you're a sci-fi horror fan, Alien's back where it belongs, and that is why worth putting it in theatrical. Fede Alvarez brings the atmosphere and tone back with the roots of this franchise and kills it. Now, there isn't much to speak without guests and collaborations, but this is such an amazing direction this movie went. I will say, like I said, Fede Alvarez, amazing job. Bring the atmosphere and tone. And like I said, the screenplay. He also wrote the screen of this movie. Pretty great. I do like the characters, even though none of them most sold me on. But I will go over the cast, though. So, speaking of which, I think it's time to bring the cast. So, the stars of this movie, I've not been familiar with them whatsoever. But, as closer to release, and few noticeable films they've been in, I mean, let's start off with Kaylee Spaney. First off, great performance in this movie. Great character in this movie. At this point, she's like the second Ripley we've seen in this movie. Sigourney Weaver from the Alien franchise. Ripley was the big character that people loves. And Kaylee Spaney, let me tell you, pulled it off. And coming out from Civil War, which is a film back in April, and she's going to be in Knives Out 3. Should have been a theatrical movie, by the way, of course. But Kaylee Spaney, gotta give it up to her. As much as I didn't even know her this much. But I'm so curious to see what she does next for big screen stuff. And people talk about where she lands next, especially with Knives Out coming out, which is being filmed already and it's already completed. But Kaylee Spaney, the final girl part of this movie, feels like the Ripley. And I gotta say, delivered one character performance that I actually enjoyed. David Johnson. This is a guy I'm not familiar with, but he is a great part to the movie. So, he plays an android, familiar, similar to Michael Fassbender's character from Prometheus and Alien Covenant, which I do like that character, of course, who stole the entire movies. David Johnson was incredibly the MVP, heart of the soul of the movie. Because I think he's so interesting of a character. He's got great chemistry in that movie. And, I could say incredible moments about this guy. I don't want to spoil too much, but he was one heck of a show for this movie. And I think he and Kaylee Spaney's chemistries were on point, which is what I love. So that much said, like I said previously, the other characters didn't sold me. I only liked Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson's movie, which I think everyone praises for. I feel like the other character departments are sort of weak and throwaways, but Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson really did a great job with this movie with the chemistry. But Isabella Merced, we all probably know her, but she's not butts in the seats. Great addition, great support. I do like the twist going on with this film, which I'm not gonna spoil, but she was a great support. And I think she pulled my attention to this movie towards the end, and I think it's really, really interesting how they set this up. Right, but the cast, I think I gotta give mostly to Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson. They were great together. They were great in this movie, and Kaylee Spaney, I hope she's in like other projects I'm interested into, because I think she can be one of those upcoming actresses, probably being a star at this point. And I think she's like coming off trendily hot right now, especially from Civil War. So Kaylee Spaney, never to forget. The sound in this movie, credible, because as you're getting atmospheric tone in this movie, from Fede Alvarez and the original of Alien, they will put you on the edge of your seat in surprising. Yeah, there's jump scares, of course. So those jump scares, they get you every time, especially if your heart beats so much like mine, because mine always heart beats to its chest every time something scary would happen. That's what a sci-fi horror movie or a horror movie in general does. And I think it did a great job of that with this atmosphere, especially in certain scenes. The sounds were great. The practical effects, man, I gotta tell you, the way Fede Alvarez did this, the face huggers were practical. And I have to say, this is like a great way to reduce budget, which this movie cost $80 million at the end of that, which incredible budget. And imagine that thing going on streaming. It's a waste of money still. The practical effects and the VFX of this movie, 12,000 VFX shots to be exact, especially with like the xenomorphs and some twists too, like I don't want to mention. They were incredible. And man, I love seeing stuff like this. And I know there's been actually noticeable things that there is an AI involved with this movie, which, look, I know we all don't like seeing AI at this point. But you know what? I think this AI worked because that AI that they use for the certain character is a great callback. And so I know people really don't like to see that and don't want to really look into that. But I think for this kind of particular fact, to bring a callback from the characters from the Alien movie, which is really that character from the first Alien. Everyone should know that. But I think it really worked with this great callback. So honestly, I think it really, really worked. So I got to give that to the practical effects team of this movie. They really pulled on with this movie pretty good. And the fact is that it just really feels great that there aren't spotty or anything. Like, I can't remember any of those CGI or any kind of Alien movie that overuses it, because I think this is really practically cheap of a way that can that reduces budget. And I think how this movie was done with the VFX and practical effects, they were amazing and great budgeted to where it really saves money. The third act, by the way, I forgot. This is a 2-hour movie, which at this point, you've been through like the third act for a second, but then, I don't want to spoil too much. But I gotta say, the third act was awesome. And it really gets you to the pole of this moment. These moments in that third act were awesome. And again, the twist. I don't want to say any twists in this movie because it really gives you a shock of how much this third act was worth it over 2 hours of a movie. And sort of that, the first 30 minutes just gets slower, but then the second act, I think it gets fun. And then the third act gets hectically funner. So I gotta say, the third act is probably my favorite part of the movie, this whole movie. And I think it's really a fun thrill ride of a amusement park, perhaps, because you're almost on the edge of your seat throughout the third act, and it really gives you the fear of what really happens, especially thinking wise, how would it really end, how would it really, there's just too much things not to mention. But, I still want to mention the third act. You guys will be impressed how the third act went, and it's actually incredible. Pulls you on the edge of your seat, and this is why, to experience that, imagine this was on streaming. You wouldn't feel the edge of your seat, but the theatrical way is that edge. And I gotta say, thank God this movie went streaming. Blech. Fuck, it's raw feed. Thank God this movie went to theatrical and not on a streamo platform. Fuck that. That's the way to experience a movie like Alien Romulus. And that is why theatrical is the place to experience the glory, greatness, fear, and atmospheric edge of your seat moments of why big screens were invented. Especially this movie was playing in IMAX, Dolby. I mean, heck, anyone that's seen this in IMAX or Dolby can be on the edge of a seat. And trust me, I even seen it on the PLF in my Imagine local theater called Super IMAX. And look, it's not IMAX or Dolby, but it's its own version of like Dolby. And I'm saying this really hits the spot of the sounds, because the sounds really pulls you in this movie to why the theatrical business of this movie feels the way it's supposed to be done. And that is the point of why Alien Romulus went to the theaters and did not go on a streaming platform. And I'm very blessed and happy to see this movie play where it belongs and gets to people coming. So overall, guys, Alien Romulus, I can't say it's perfect, but definitely one of the gooder Alien movie you would ever see. If you're a fan of the original Alien and Aliens and the other kinds, which I know they were pretty getting staled and bad. I think the first three movies, Alien Romulus, and Aliens, really probably are the best films in the franchise by all means necessary. And great for a trilogy, too. That should have been that in that sense. So, what would I rate this? I rate this 9 out of 10 and 4 stars. Which I think, really, like I said, it's not perfect. I think some of the characters, like I said, didn't soul me, most of it, besides Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson. But everything else, top notch. I just loved everything in this movie. The atmosphere, the direction, the sound, the third act, the practical effects. They were incredible, and they were well done to that extent of an Alien movie. So I'm very happy that this movie, again, went to theaters. And it, just to report numbers, made good opening weekend. Having a second huge drop, meant to be a horror movie, but it's got to have legs. And I think it's going to go into September pretty efficiently before it goes on streaming October otherwise. But yeah, Alien Romulus. This is a summer flick. You can end off your summer by going to see on National Cinema Day, because, boy, you would have a time of your life. And I wouldn't mind witnessing this kind of fear in my heart again, just for an Alien movie. And at this point, I hope a Predator Prey sequel happens, because I love to see it go in theaters, and I will have to watch Prey anyways. But all right, though, guys, I think that does it for this review. There's nothing really much to talk about, and I know it's usually lonely with myself when I do these reviews by myself. But don't worry, guys. If you guys love seeing guests talk here and then, I am planning to have a few dozens coming on my show, because just to quickly talk about the fall movies and the winter movies. It is an exciting feeling like summer releases real quick, just to bring them up. The summer movies have been great. Been enjoying it. But surprising ones I reviewed, which really didn't deserve to bomb. Furiosa. I mean, that's pretty sad. Borderlands, look, it did what it did. I mean, I don't care how much I didn't want this to bomb, but it did bomb for its own reasons, so it is what it is. Screw that movie. But summer 2024, banging. I mean, there are a lot of hits. Inside Out, Bad Boys, Planet of the Apes, Quiet Place, Twisters, Deadpool, Despicable Me. And literally, like, this is a great summer films. Like, as soon as May hits and we're all almost in danger, June picks it right up. And summer 2024 blockbusters of theatrical is exactly how it does. And way better than last year by any means. This is a better summer theatrical release. And so far, all majorities of them have been huge hits. Again, except May. May kind of had issues, but I think the exception of Kingdom Planet Apes and Garfield, they were hits. So that's good on that. So, fall and winter. Just to quickly elaborate the home stretch. Just want to bring this up. We got Beetlejuice, Transformers, Wild Robot, Joker 2. I'm excited. Venom, Smile 2. Let's see. November, Gladiator, Wicked, Moana 2. Going to December. Interesting ones. There's Craven, Lord of the Rings anime. December 20th, Sonic 3, Mufasa the Lion King. December 25th, Christmas Day. Like, there's a great amount of movies that I feel like a lot of them are going to be hits. We'll see where it goes, though, depending on some demand. But fall and winter movies going on is going to be super interesting. And yes, you guys, unlike last year, I kind of suffered from the delay of Dune last year of I Screen, You Screen for Movies, number 4. I didn't have a good fall, winter movie sessions. But this year, though, feels like we're back in the saddle. And theatrical is better than it was before last year, last fall. So I'm expecting to see it boom than ever. So can't wait to experience the glory, theatrical, fall, winter. This season is on the home stretch of season 3, and there'll be plenty more reviews and guests to come. So, guys, with that said, that is going to be the review of AlienRomulus and what to expect for fall, winter movies of my show. So, I named plenty a few of those that I'll be reviewing, but some of them I haven't mentioned I will be reviewing. So, can't wait to get into the season, and this is where it's going to get fun. Like I said, new summer returning guests coming on. Now, I'm planning, and this is why you should subscribe to I Screen, You Screen for number 4 movies, whatever you're listening on any podcast audio. But if you are a podcast listener, you're not getting a whole story. If you go ahead, find a YouTube link in the podcast description of the audio episode, you will find my YouTube channel holding up my number 4 fingers for the podcast. I Screen, You Screen 4, number 4 movies. So you will get to see a plenty story of my face. And, of course, you'll get to see a variety of guests' face coming in new. So you'll get to experience plenty of that on this show. So subscribe to the YouTube for getting more story to the faces and facials that you'll get to see in reactions. Social media, follow me on Twitter, X, and TikTok, and my Letterboxd for more in-depth reviews of movies. And, there is plenty of lot to go into this fall and winter. So, guys, can't wait for the season of movie going to be exciting. And, by the way, my second most anticipated film, before I end this off, Sonic 3. As of this recording and the episode drops, the trailer would be out. And I'm just letting you guys know, I'm on the hype train for Sonic 3, and it's going to be an extraordinary hype. So, be on the lookout for me asking people questions about Sonic 3, because I can guarantee you it is going to be the hypest movie probably of the fall winter season, and it's going to be one hectic ride of that, so can't wait. But guys, that's going to be it for this review, but until next time, this is Danny Escamilaggi signing off of I Screen, You Screen for number 4 movies. Until then, stay screaming for the movies, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace.